In one of his famous speeches titled Citizenship in a Republic, Theodore Roosevelt talks about this idea called the man in the arena. He says, quote, "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming." In today's video, I want to talk to you about how we can get back in the arena, so to speak. How when we've fallen off the path, when we find ourselves in a hole, in a rut, creatively, mentally, emotionally, what have you, how do we get back in the fight? How do we begin to pull our lives back together? And these are 4 very practical ways that I have found work in my life, and they are ways that you can begin to bring your life together just within 1 week. You can apply these principles, and you should start feeling rather, a sense of forward progression and forward movement in your life. So let's get into it. Step 1 is to automate your life. A lot of times when we feel stuck in life, that feeling can be attributed to a lack of structure, a lack of routine. And so one of the best things that we can do for ourselves is begin to bring in a sense of structure and routine in our lives. And I'm reading this great book right now called Atomic Habits by James Clear. But this whole book is about building a system. Okay, and he has this great quote where he says, "The people with the best self-control are often the ones who use it the least." What that means is when you look at a lot of high performers, just in general, people who seem to get a lot done, who are very successful, whether it be entrepreneurs, athletes, whatever, right? People who are very successful, a lot of times when you look at the way that they spend their daily lives, they're very routine and regimented people. They wake up and they do the same thing every single day. They have strict routines, they have strict habits that they follow. And it's because when you have a system in place for how you're gonna spend your day, it takes away that element of choice. Because we don't realize that throughout the day, we're making thousands of choices. Thousands of choices you have to make, thousands of little like micro decisions that you have to make, and macro decisions, right? Big decisions that you have to make. And over the course of the day, that fatigues you and that wears you out, and that fatigues you mentally, that fatigues you emotionally. So the more that you can eliminate that element of choice in your day, the better off you'll be. And your routines don't have to be anything complicated. Like I'll give you my morning routine right now. Step 1 is I wake up and immediately go make some coffee. Step 2, I do a short Bible study and meditation. And then step 3, I do some light stretching just to warm up the body. And step 4, I make my bed. And that's it. And what this also allows you to do is it allows you to stack wins early in the day. It allows you to build momentum, okay? Because the most important time of the day is in the morning. Like, what do you do right after you wake up? That's gonna set the tone and the mood for the entire day. And then, throughout the rest of your day, have an idea of how you're gonna spend your time. From 9 to 5, you go to work. And then after the day, after your work day, have, an evening routine. For me, I go to the gym. Right when I wake up in the morning, I know exactly how I'm gonna spend my time. And it eliminates those choices and decisions that I have to make. So that's step 1, is to start to automate your life. Build a system for yourself that you can just run every single day, so that you don't face this feeling of analysis paralysis where you're having to decide how you're gonna spend your day. Step 2 is to take on side hustles and passion projects. So along with feeling a sense of structure in our lives, we also need to feel a sense of movement, of forward progression, like we're going somewhere. The best thing that you can do in this regard is to set some goals for yourself. You need to have something that you're moving towards. And these don't have to be lofty goals. I actually advise that they're not lofty goals. I advise that they're realistic goals. That you can set a time frame for yourself and you can say realistically, within 6 months or 3 months or what have you, this is what I want to achieve. And it can be anything. It can be a fitness goal, it could be a professional goal, it could be a money goal, whatever you want. It's just got to be something that you really desire, that you're passionate about, that you are interested in. So for example, for me, a goal that I recently accomplished was I broke into a new career field. I realized that I wasn't making enough money to kind of live the life that I wanted, to like do the things that I wanted to do and to live the lifestyle that I want to live. And so I made the decision that I was going to have to break into a new career field that had a little bit more higher income. The thing is, when you set yourself a goal, the path will become clear almost immediately if you just start asking yourself the right questions. So what do I need to do? Well, step one, you need to get a better job. At the time, I was what they called unskilled, okay? I didn't know any high income skills. So I needed to learn some high income skills in order to get a better job, in order to make more money. So that became step one, was to learn a high income skill set that I could then use to get a better job. So for me, in order to do that, I took a series of online courses. I took on some projects for free. The next step became, well, now you need to build some sort of credentials. Now you need to start building a resume. Took some certifications, and I acquired some certifications and started to build a resume from scratch. And all of this took, several months. The next step became, well, now I need to get a better job. So after I learned the skills, built the resume, took some online certifications to build the resume, then I went out and started applying for jobs. And that took a few months. And finally, I got hired on somewhere. But look, it was a realistic goal. And when you set goals for yourself, the beautiful thing is that a journey will become clear. Like, you will have to take a journey from point A to point B in order to achieve that goal. If it's a weight loss goal, it's the same thing. If it's I want to buy a nicer car even, the same principle applies, right? You're gonna have to do certain things in order to achieve that goal. But that's what's gonna transform you, right? That's what's gonna make you a better person, okay? And that's what's gonna give you some sort of forward movement in your life, okay? So that's step two, is to take on some side hustles and passion projects that you can start to move towards. Step three is community. I highly recommend getting involved in a community, building a healthy social circle, because I find that when we are in mental, emotional holes, when we're stuck in life, we tend to isolate, and that's the worst thing that you could do. The last thing that you want to be doing if you're in a hole mentally is to just be in your room ruminating about all your problems. You need to get outside of your head, okay? You need to get outside of your head. You need to get into the real world. You need to be interacting with people. And you need to stop focusing so much on your problems, okay? And so that's what, building a healthy social life gives you. That's what building, getting involved in a community gives you. You need to make an effort to see people, to go have dinner with your family, to hang out with friends. That's gonna get you out of your own head and into the real world and push your focus outward instead of just obsessing inwardly about your own problems. Step four is to reframe your mindset. Reframe the way that you're looking at yourself in your current situation. We tend to forget how superficial thoughts and feelings are. And oftentimes we can attach ourselves too much to whatever we might be experiencing at that time. So something as simple as saying, I am a depressed person, I am an anxious person. You are feeding yourself that narrative that becomes more deeply ingrained every single time you believe it, every time you think it and you tell yourself that. When in reality is you're not an anxious person, you're just somebody who's experiencing anxiety, you're just someone who's a little stressed, okay? And so one of the mistakes we make is we attach ourselves too much to these very superficial things. And so I would highly recommend that you just kind of examine what harmful thought patterns you find yourself being attached to. Start to detach. I mean, I know that sounds a little abstract, but start to kind of reframe your thinking as to how you see yourself in this situation. Because we tend to forget that we can choose. We can pick and choose what we want to believe about ourselves, and we can pick and choose what we want to believe about the world around us. I got another book on my shelf that I've read called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. And he talks about the mind as being a garden, and that we are the gardeners, and that we have a responsibility to go in there and to pull out the weeds every now and then. And if we don't tend to the garden, eventually the weeds will grow out of control. The whole garden will just become a wreck. It'll become a mess. And so we have to, look within ourselves every now and then and examine what beliefs we are attaching ourselves to. And we need to choose, is this something that I want to believe? Is this something that I want to ingrain into myself? Theodore Roosevelt ends this section of his speech by saying, quote, "He who actually does strive to do the deeds, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and at worst knows that if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat." What I want you to take away from this video is that falling off track isn't the problem. That's inevitably going to happen to all of us who are striving to do anything in life, who are trying at all. It is better to fail, as President Roosevelt would say, than to never try anything and to never know victory or defeat. And so I would encourage you guys to apply some of these steps in your own life and to pull yourself back up and to get back on track, because you are more than capable of doing so. And I hope this video helped you. Subscribe if you want to see more videos, guys. Thanks for stopping by the channel. I really appreciate it. I will catch you in the next one. Peace.